What's up, YouTube? Is this level? Jesus, alright. Alright, let's read the newspaper, huh? January 10th, my, happy birthday, Jessica, my little sister. We are not sponsored by nicotine vape things. Juul, not sponsored by Juul. Nicotine, it's safer than caffeine. Alright. Shutdown negotiations collapse in Rancor. Good use of Rancor. President said to argue executive privilege. White House anticipates clash with Congress over airing Mueller's findings. Trump calls talk a total waste. Impasse no closer to an end as each side digs in. Farmers feel a sting from the shutdown. Amid trade troubles and bad weather, some have not received their government checks, leaving them without a lifeline. Fuck. Poor farmers. John Boyd began planning Winter Week this week, but without the government funds he was expecting, he cannot buy more seeds. Jesus. Patients stuck in corporate fight against generic drugs. In Wall Duel, Trump's favored deal-making tactics fall short. It's because he's up against Nancy Pelosi, baby. Nancy Pelosi. She's the fucking man. And I don't mean that. I should have said something different. She's the fucking lady. She's awesome. I like Nancy Pelosi. Iraq's Shiite militias expand their reach, stoking tensions. Shiite militiamen secure an area along the Syrian border in Iraq's. Man, that's really good. A really good picture. Okay. In the news, Rosenstein on his way out. The Deputy Attorney General who once oversaw the Russia probe is expected to leave if a new Justice Department chief is confirmed. Hunger on campus. A federal report urged workers. Hunger on campus. A federal report urged officials to work with states and universities to help students obtain food assistance. The nation's Supreme Court justices ponder a 40-year-old decision on state sovereignty, a key test of legal precedent for the new court. Oh, I might read that. The World. Congo's Electoral Commission declared Felix Tshisekedi the winner of a presidential vote, setting up its first democratic power transfer. A14. Wow, that's cool. Turkey and Syrian Kurds are looking to Russia to resolve the crisis created by President Trump's decision to withdraw in Syria. Oh. Of course they're looking to Russia. Russia's the one that wanted us to withdraw from Syria, aren't they? European nations reluctantly resolved a standoff over resettling migrants rescued in the Mediterranean Sea. The economy. China's benchmark stock index plunge was the world's worst, and its slowdown threatens the global economy. Two people close to Maryland Senate President Thomas V. Mike Miller Jr. Jesus Christ, he has 5 names. Thomas V. Mike Miller Jr. said he is being treated for a prostate cancer. Jeez, oh, that's sad. Arlington County School Board is set to rename Washington Lee High School after a months-long review. Local living. Handle with care. When used correctly, bleach can be a versatile disinfectant. Style. A virgin bachelor. What was once a subplot is now a main event. Oh my god. The Bachelor is a virgin. I'm gonna give all the virgins out there a piece of advice my mother passed on to me. Don't buy a fucking car without test driving that fucking thing, you piece of shit, Jefferson. She actually didn't say it like that. She said it much more lovely. But here's a piece of advice. If you're thinking about remaining a virgin until the day you get married, uh, don't buy cars that you don't test drive. Wait, no, that's actually a really sexist saying, I think. Because in this saying, the car is a possession. Well, she's test driving you too. I think it's a mutual. The metaphor is two-way, is how I'm thinking of it. I don't think of it as sexist. I don't think of it as the woman that I will hopefully marry is a car. No. It's more like just don't fucking wait till marriage to have sex. That probably is not a good idea, I don't think. Maybe it is. Someone can convince me that it is, but until someone convinces me that it is, it's not. Nation's food supply at risk. The interruption of federal safety inspection is causing alarm. Yeah, I would think. Shutdown size hole in safety nets. Suspended social programs affect those who can afford it least. Yeah. Fucking Trump's such a piece of shit. Aid to steel trade. Not so much. The logistics of building a wall are not as simple as they appear. That's funny. Struggling with the newly needy. Donations to charities plummet as furloughed workers seek help. Oh, Jesus. Man, who'd have thought shutting down the government would suck so bad? Whoa. New Jewel ad. Full page, baby. No more broken New Year's resolution. The switch was easy. Patrick, 47, smoker for 34 years. Switch to Jewel, December 2017. Make the switch. Jewel. Intended for adult smokers, not for sale to minors. This project contains nicotine. This guy looks really proud of himself. He switched from cigarettes to Jewel, and look at him. And he also, I noticed he's got the silver Jewel. Hey, Jewel, can I get a silver Jewel? Jewel! Jewel! Hey, Jewel, pay attention to me. Can I get the silver Jewel? I've been advertising this motherfucker for 3 months now. I mean, not advertising this motherfucker for 3 months. Can you make the switch for me and give me a silver one? Please? Jewel! Jewel! Please! And if Jewel the country singer wants to send me a silver one too, that would be fine. Jewel! The global cost of China's slowdown. Beijing has had to resort to more old-fashioned stimulus methods to keep its economy and the world on track. Why don't we all slow down? The whole world should just slow down a bit. I feel like we're moving too quickly right now. Everyone's fucking stressed the fuck out. We're all trying to be faster and better than computers. Well, we're not. I let my computer run my whole company. It's awesome. I don't have to do much of anything. I basically just have to be the spokesperson, and the computer's gonna do the rest. Took a long time to build the algorithm, but now that I'm done, it should be pretty self-running. I don't know when it's gonna launch, because right now I just look like an idiot. I started a company that does nothing, and I'm over here making bread, but whatever. Congo declares a presidential winner. Kim meets Xi and tours medicine plant in China. Pompeo visits Iraq on tour. See, this is why I think I would like being a politician. Visits medicine plant. I would love that. You know what show I watch all the fucking time? How It's Made on Discovery Channel. I just watch it on YouTube. I watch a million How It's Made videos. I think I've probably seen some of them multiple times. I like knowing how things are made. I used to take shit apart, but it seems like politicians always get to go on tours of cool ass factories. A medicine factory? What does that even mean? Medicine is such a fucking vague term. Medicine factory, medicine plant. And tourist medicine plant, also plant. Could technically not even be a factory. Here we go. High Court considers whether predecessors made a mistake 40 years ago. Case takes on precedent that one state can be sued in another's courts. Oh, interesting. Supreme Court justices are pondering a case on state sovereignty, a key test of precedent for the strengthened conservative majority. What does conservatives think about that? I don't know. The Supreme Court decided 40 years ago that one state could be sued in another state's courts without its consent. On Wednesday, the justices pondered whether their predecessors had made a mistake. An hour-long argument featuring two of the court's most experienced practitioners recounted the founding of the Union and the framing of the Constitution, and both claimed the notion of state sovereignty was on their side. But the modern consequences of respecting the court's precedents, or stare decisis, it is called, or overturning them, were much on the minds of the justices. Liberals on the court are particularly leery of its strengthened conservative majority, overturning past precedents. Questions about respecting stare decisis dominated the confirmation hearings of President Trump's nominee to the court justices Neil M. Gorsuch and Brett M. Kavanaugh. Senate Democrats worry they will overturn liberal precedents such as Roe v. Wade, the 1973 decision that legalized abortion nationally. At Wednesday's hearing, the case concerned a man who sued California tax board officials in a Nevada court. Liberal Justice Stephen G. Beyer promoted the idea of leaving precedents in place when there is no evidence that much has changed and the decision has not proved unworkable. Every time we overrule a case, it's like a little chink in an armor that confuses lawyers and the public about the stability of the law, Breyer said. He added that everyone has a list of Supreme Court cases believed to be wrongly decided. Once you start down the road, you have to be careful, Breyer added. Conservative Justice Samuel A. Alito Jr. was ready to argue the other side, asking somewhat rhetorically of one of the lawyers, do you think that the public would have greater respect for an institution that says, we're never going to admit we made a mistake because we said it and we decided it. We're going to stick to it even if we think it's wrong. Or an institution that says, we're generally going to stick to what we've done, but we're not perfect. And when we look back and we think we made a big mistake, we're going to go back and correct it. Such a dumb wording. I get the feeling Samuel A. Alito Jr. is not the smartest person in the world based on what he just said. He is a justice for the Supreme Court, and I am somebody that's just sitting on my couch reading the newspaper. So I'll say that he doesn't seem that smart in the same way that I get angry when a wide receiver in the NFL doesn't catch a ball. But that was a pretty dumb thing, I think he said. This is the third time the dispute between Gilbert P. Hyatt and California's Franchise Tax Board has reached the Supreme Court. The tax board accused Hyatt of basically faking his move from the Golden State to Nevada in the early 1990s to avoid paying income tax. But the way investigators went about their work, looking through his garbage, interrogating family members and business associates, prompted Hyatt to file suit against the auditors in Nevada court. He won and was awarded nearly $500 million. Is this guy the fucking guy that owns Hyatt hotels? Why would his tax bill be $500 million? Oh, a figure that has been reduced through the years of litigation to $100,000. That's a huge difference. $500 million is like winning the Powerball. $100,000 is like winning a $10 scratcher ticket. Like, that's a very big difference. That's how I think about money, I guess. Scratcher tickets and Powerballs. What about the Mega Millions? No one ever gives the Mega Millions credit. I think the Mega Millions is often larger than the Powerball. I like the lottery. It's my retirement plan. The California Tax Board contends it never should have been hauled into Nevada court. When an earlier iteration of the case was heard 2 years ago, the Supreme Court split 4-4 on whether the 1979 decision allowing such suits was correct. This is fucking boring. All right, so basically, I don't even understand it. I don't understand what the fuck they're arguing. This is why I'm not a lawyer. Damn, Washington Post still on that Khashoggi shit. Good. Let's not kill journalists. I think that's a pretty good rule for the world. Food stamps, housing subsidies, other service at risk as standoff lingers. Texas politicians, some in the GOP, expressed skepticism about Trump's wall. Really? Views are nuanced in the state that has the largest border with Mexico. As President Trump heads to Texas to continue making his case for a wall along the Mexican border, he is facing mounting skepticism from those who would be affected the most. Nearly every state and federal official who represents a district along the border is opposed to his plan. That's pretty clear. All right, well, I think I'm done with the article. Nearly every state or federal official who represents a district along the border is opposed to his plan. So, all right, we don't need a wall. The people who the wall is going to be built in their fucking place don't like it. So, shouldn't that be enough? Like, all right, I'm about to go on a rant. So, the one person who's watching, if you don't want to hear a rant, turn off the thing. Or if you're watching this after it's posted, here's the rant. Here's why I think Trump has ruined the news and ruined intellectualism. Because, actually, it's not even Trump so much, but Trump exploited this. I think here's why the internet ruined a lot of things for people. Because the internet makes it so that everyone believes that they can do their own research and be just as smart as anybody else. So the internet makes it so that me, an idiot, thinks that because I can look something up on Wikipedia, that therefore I'm an expert on it. And if I already have an opinion, I can look up whatever I need to find facts that support that opinion. So it used to be that, we kind of stayed in our lanes. Or at least I did. I tried to. I would have a friend who I knew was very interested in, let's say, military news. And so, that friend I would read a story about the military doing blank and blank and blank, and I kind of would form my own opinion immediately, but I would go to my friend who is not an expert in military stuff, but is more knowledgeable and was in the military and therefore has more knowledge about military structure and ethics and all this different stuff that I don't really have floating in my head. And they would tell me kind of where I was right and where I was wrong. But now it's like no one, let's do another example. Financial news. I have a friend who she's incredibly smart and she knows economics much better than me. And so I would kind of go to her with these crazy outlandish ideas about how the economy works and everything, and she would kind of correct me most of the time. Once in a while, she'd be like, I think you have it sort of right, but you're forgetting about this and this. But now, no one goes to anyone else. No one trusts anyone else about anything. If we have an opinion, we go on the internet and we find facts that support our opinion, which is always possible because there's so many people on the internet that you can find facts to support the opinion that the earth is flat. flat earthers are growing because of the internet, because you can create your own little echo chamber for yourself that supports the idea that the earth is flat. And because of the internet, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because of the internet, now everyone can do that with any opinion. We need a wall along the southern border. So you get online and you go to news sources and shit like that that supports the idea that we need a wall along the Mexican border. But if you ask the people, as this fucking article says, if you ask the people who live along the border, they say a wall wouldn't work. It doesn't. It's not even going to help. If your idea is to keep people out, they're tunneling under the existing walls. And where there's no wall, it's such a remote area that it's hard to cross anyway. So what you need is not a wall. You need more investigators and people like that. If your goal is to stop illegal border crossings, which is not a well, actually, I don't want illegal border crossings, but I think we've politicized the issue a little bit too much. All I'm saying is that the better spending of that money, according to people who are experts on the situation at the border, is on more detectives and people who can stop bad drug trafficking and whatever through the border before it happens versus trying to just stop it with a wall, because they're just going to go around the wall, under the wall, over the wall. It's a speed bump. It's not anything. So I think I guess what I'm saying is I think everyone needs to start listening to each other again. If you're not a scientist and you go on Google.com and you think because you Googled that climate change isn't real and you found a bunch of random websites and blah, blah, blah that say that climate change isn't real, but let's say you're a plumber or you're a person who works in an office, a receptionist, or you're a high-powered executive. You don't have knowledge of how climate works. You're not a climatologist. So you doing research is just you finding facts online to support your own opinion. And that's not how research works. So I think the internet, we need to have like a class in school for little kids about how the danger of the internet is that it will be an echo chamber if you want it to be an echo chamber. And that is dangerous because humans should not talk to themselves for a prolonged period of time. I mean, look at me, I'm losing my mind talking to the camera. And so the reason Trump ruined everything is because Trump encourages people to do their own research. And he says things in a way that make it seem like you don't even need to dumb people. I'm sorry. If you like Trump if you're still a fan of Trump 2 years into his presidency, you are willfully ignorant or dumb. I mean, I'm sorry. I love you. I think that you got tricked. I think it's, not bad that you got tricked, but you got tricked by a con man. He's a snake oil salesman. The con man is a very storied thing in American history. I mean, the story of the Old West is the Wild Wild West, pretty popular right now. It's also a good Will Ferrell movie with a giant mechanical spider. But, think about the snake oil salesman. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, one of the most storied companies in American history, and one of the largest companies in the world in terms of brand recognition, started as a health elixir that a guy went town to town and be like, buy Coca-Cola, it'll cure your fucking cancer. I mean, that's what we do in this country. We're just all con men. Man, shit. Is that true? Probably not. If you're a history major, let me know why I'm wrong. I just went on a rant about why we shouldn't do our own research. I'm not an expert on American history, so I probably should not be talking about it. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I just talked about for 10 minutes. Basically, just be skeptical of your own opinions. And if you have opinions that you think are based on facts, try to leave open the option in your head that those facts could not be true, that you could be wrong. I think it's very humble and it's very likable when you meet someone who's okay with being wrong about something. Because it's so often that as soon as you point out anything negative about a person or anything, they get defensive. So it's nice the few times where you meet someone who goes, "Oh, I never thought about it like that. That's a good point." So maybe be wrong more, people. It's nice being wrong. God, Mitch McConnell is such a piece of shit. Virginia soybean farmers in a tight spot. White House gears for fight to shield parts of Mueller probe. White House counsel Pat Cipollone. Man, this guy looks like a fucking mob lawyer. White House counsel. So he's the lawyer for the White House. And he looks like a fucking mob, dude. I just leave that up until it focuses. Anyway. And the director of the Office of Management and Budget, Mick Mulvaney, what a fucking weirdo. Listen to President Trump as President Trump meets with top Democrats in the House and Senate in the Oval Office on December 11th. Cipollone, who succeeded Don McGahn, has been rebuilding the counsel's office. What? Tom Steyer, billionaire Democratic donor, declines to run for president. Good. No one was going to elect him. I'm glad he listened to his pollsters, because I'm sure what his pollsters found was that he was not electable. And instead of letting his ego get the best of him, he said, all right, I'll spend the money I would have spent on a campaign to... oh, he's doing the impeachment thing. I've seen those ads. Needtoimpeach.com. President set to argue executive privilege. Okay, this is the fucking shit. White House anticipates clash with Congress over airing Mueller's finding. A beefed-up White House legal team is gearing up to prevent President Trump's confidential discussions with top advisors from being disclosed to House Democratic investigators and revealed in the special counsel's long-awaited report, setting the stage for a potential clash between the branches of government. Heyo! The strategy to strongly assert the president's executive privilege on both fronts is being developed under newly arrived White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who has hired 17 lawyers in recent weeks to help in the effort. He is coordinating with White House lawyer Emmett Flood, who is leading the response to special counsel Robert S. Mueller III's report on his now 20-month-long investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 campaign. Flood is based in the White House counsel's office, but reports directly to Trump. Trump aides say White House lawyers are focused on preserving a legal protection routinely invoked by presidents of both parties. But any effort to fight investigators is likely to further inflame Trump's relationship with Democratic leaders who could lock the administration and Congress in protracted legal standoffs that may ultimately go to the Supreme Court. Of particular concern to Democrats whether the White House will seek to use executive privilege to keep private any portions of Mueller's report that addresses alleged obstruction of justice by the president. There is a growing sense that the special counsel's closely held investigation could come to culmination soon. Some Trump advisors think Mueller could deliver the confidential report explaining his findings to senior Justice Department officials next month, Under the rules authorizing the special counsel, the Attorney General can decide whether to share the report or parts of it with Congress and the public. Some House leaders have vowed to immediately seek to obtain a copy of Mueller's findings, but the White House would resist the release of details describing confidential and sensitive communications between the president and his senior aides, Trump advisors say. It is unclear whether the special counsel's report will refer to material that the White House views as privileged communications obtained from interviews with senior White House officials. Some Trump advisors anticipate that Mueller may simply write a concise memo laying out his conclusions about the president's actions. However, Rudolph W. Giuliani, one of Trump's personal attorneys, said the president's lawyers have made clear to Justice Department officials that they want to see Mueller's completed report before the department decides what to share with Congress. Their aim, to have the chance to argue whether they believe some parts should remain private under executive privilege, Giuliani said. At that point, we can decide whether we have executive privileges. Exceptions to the report, Giuliani said in an interview. If the Justice Department agrees with the White House counsel that the report or portions of it should be withheld from the public, the White House could try to subpoena the document, Giuliani said. The House could try to subpoena it, but the White House could then go to court to resist its release. The legal showdown could be one of the most significant debates over presidential executive privilege since Richard M. Nixon sought to block the release of his White House tapes in the Watergate investigation. Ronald Weich, an assistant attorney general under President Barack Obama, said the Mueller report will be of such overwhelming interest to Congress and to the public that it is highly likely that courts would rule in favor of Congress's receiving it, as the Supreme Court did in ordering Nixon to turn over his tapes in July 1974. He resigned the next month. Further complicating the current dynamic is a possible change in Justice Department oversight of the special counsel's probe, which Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein has continued to supervise under Acting Attorney General Matthew G. Whitaker. Trump's top nominee for the top post, former Attorney General William P. Barr, has criticized aspects of Mueller's investigation. His Senate confirmation hearing is scheduled for next week. Rosenstein is expected to leave the Justice Department if Barr is confirmed, although the timing of his departure is unclear. In preparation for the looming legal battles, Cipollone has been beefing up the White House counsel's office, which was down to fewer than 20 lawyers late last year compared to with 40 or 50 in past administrations. 4 of the 5 deputies under previous White House counsel, Don McGahn, had left the office, the Washington Post reported last year. Jesus. Since his arrival in December, Cipollone has increased the staff to roughly 35 lawyers and aims to bolster the ranks to 40 in the coming weeks. He also hired 3 deputies, all with extensive experience in past Republican White Houses and in the Justice Department. Cipollone, a longtime litigator who worked briefly in the 1990s for then Attorney General Barr, declined to comment, but Jay Sekulow, one of Trump's personal attorneys, said the new White House counsel has quickly assembled a stable of top-notch lawyers. It's almost as if he's building a law firm within the government entity, Sekulow said. You have very senior lawyers coalescing into a great team. Shut the fuck up, Jay Sekulow, you piece of shit. What the hell are you talking about? This isn't a fucking reality show. Under Cipollone's guidance, White House lawyers are preparing a strategy to fend off a blizzard of requests expected from congressional Democrats who are planning to launch investigations into an array of topics such as Trump's finances and controversial administration's policies. Woo! That's going to be fun. Cipollone's goal, Trump aides said, is to try and find common ground with the congressional Democrats in responding to the subpoenas when he can, but draw a clear line that would protect the confidentiality of the office of the president. All right, I got that. This is pretty good day for news that I find interesting, i.e., legal drama. Rosenstein expects to leave Justice Department. Kind of enjoying reading the news. Maybe I'll keep reading. An impasse at the 3-week mark. Neither side ready to fold. Let's read about Nancy Pelosi being a badass. That's what I want to read about. Okay, so which one is this? Shut down. Talks between President Trump and congressional Democrats aimed at ending the partial government shutdown collapsed in acrimony and disarray Wednesday when the president walked out of the White House meeting and calling it a total waste of time after Democrats rejected his demand for a border wall funding. That a girl, Nancy. Furious Democrats accused Trump of slamming his hand on the table before he exited, and they said he ignored their pleas to reopen the... Oh, wow, 2 people watching. Damn. He ignored their pleas to reopen the federal government as they continue to negotiate over his border wall demands. With the shutdown nearing the 3-week mark, some 800,000 workers are about to miss their first paycheck. He thinks maybe they could just ask their father for more money, but they can't, said House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, D from California, an implicit dig at Trump's wealthy upbringing. That a fucking great insult. That's very true. Well, unfortunately, the president just got up and walked out, said Senate Majority Leader Charles E. Schumer, D from New York. He asked Speaker Pelosi, "Will you agree to my wall?" She said, "No, you fucking retard." No, she said, "No, you disgusting orange buffoon." Sorry. No, she said, "No, you piece of shit." Sorry. She said no. And he just got up and said, "Then we have nothing to discuss." And he just walked out. Wow, what a fucking baby. He acts like a little teeny... He acts like a spoiled little boy. I think we've all dealt with spoiled little boys in our life. And he acts like a spoiled little boy. What a gross excuse for a human being. Trump himself tweeted, "Just left a meeting with Chuck and Nancy. Total waste of time. I asked what is going to happen in 30 days if I quickly open things up. Are you going to approve border security, which includes a wall or steel barrier?" Nancy said, "No." I said, "Bye-bye. Nothing else works." You idiot. That's not how... You wrote a fucking book called The Art of the Deal. I've been in business negotiations. Business negotiations don't occur like this. Are you going to agree to what I want? No? Okay, I'm gone. No, there's give and take. When I negotiate with friends over where we're going to go eat, there's a give and take. The breakdown left no end, and I don't know who I'm ranting at. Everyone agrees, I hope, that that's not how you negotiate. The breakdown left no end in sight to the shutdown, even as its effects spiral around the nation. Even as its effects spiral around the nation on services for farmers, food inspection services, and national parks. Hey, remember when the romaine lettuce got poisoned or whatever happened? Well, now at every food facility across the nation, the USDA inspectors aren't getting their paycheck, and they aren't showing up to inspect the food. There's hundreds and hundreds of giant food facilities around this nation that have no oversight now. Maybe people should reread Upton Sinclair. What is the fucking book? Anyway, Upton Sinclair did a thing about like sausage factories in Chicago, and it was disgusting. And this is why we have federal food inspectors, is because before we had federal food inspectors, workers would fall into the sausage machine, and you would be like human meat would get sent out to people. It was fucking chaos. And Trump I guess wants to go back to those days. Trump ended the day Wednesday even further dug in. I get so upset reading these stories. Trump, but Jewel makes me feel bad. Trump ended the day Wednesday even further dug in on his demands for $5.7 billion to build more than 200 miles of wall along the US-Mexico border, and Democrats were equally forceful in rejecting his demands. Democrats are refusing to provide more than $1.3 billion to continue existing funding levels for security barriers at the border. It's not clear when or if negotiations will resume. On Saturday, the shutdown will become the longest in U.S. history. As an early test of divided government in Washington, with Democrats in their second week in control of the House, the standoff portends more clashes to come. The new Congress faces a string of consequential votes, including raising the federal borrowing limit to avoid defaulting on U.S. government debts, and the political pressure will only intensify as the 2020 presidential race heats up. After the what? God, I'm so bad at reading. After the White House meeting broke up in a startling fashion, Republican and Democratic officials took turns addressing reporters at the White House and on Capitol Hill, trading blame and accusing each other of mischaracterizing the meeting and being intransigent. The president walked into the room, passed out candy, Vice President said. I don't recall him ever raising his voice or slamming his hand. What the fuck? Pence, we all know that the president raised his voice and slammed his hand. Like, we can all picture that. We can't all picture him walking into the room and passing out. Actually, I can picture him doing that too. That's really weird. That's really weird. That's a really weird mental picture. President Trump handing candy to people? Ugh. I don't want your candy, Trump. Senate Majority Whip John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, said later that the candy distributed was Baby Ruth bars, M&Ms, and Butterfinger bars. But Schumer told reporters upon returning to the Capitol, "It was an amazing meeting. The president threw another temper tantrum, slammed the table, and walked out. It wasn't even a high-stakes negotiation," Pelosi said. "It was a petulant president of the United States." The breakdown at the White House occurred. Hold on. So the way that the Republican Party is framing this meeting is that the president. Sorry, I think in newspeak it doesn't sound as funny as the reality. So the way the Republican strategy for this meeting is to say, no, the president was trying to be nice. He handed out candy. You don't understand. He was being nice. Trump was being nice for once in his life. He handed out candy. So either way, whether you take the Republicans' idea of the event, of the meeting, or Democrats' idea of the meeting, he acted like a child. Trump either acted like an idiot, little nice child giving everyone candy, or he acted like a temper tantrum, petulant child throwing a temper tantrum. Or some combination of the both. But either way, whichever side of the story you decide to take, he acted like a little kid. That's hilarious to me. Anyway, I think I'm done. We get the idea. Trump is a little baby dick president. Anyway, not brought to you by Juul. Check out Satur Veritas. Hopefully, we'll be launching our consumer grade products soon. I just need to talk to my co-CEO about that because I thought